Yes, you are reading that title right. This Linux user switched to Apple for a month. So, so I'm one of those that if I'm going to try something, I legitimately want to give it its fair shot and not criticize it without actually using it. Now, I've criticized Apple a lot. I've used past versions of specifically just macOS. I haven't used an iPhone since iOS 7, so I can't really talk about it. That's the reason why I don't generically talk about iPad and iOS, because I can't talk about them without talking ignorantly about them. And that shit irks me when other people do it, so why the fuck am I going to do it? But I solved that problem. iPhone, iPad, and I can set the thing up. MacBook Air. All officially supported devices still. No DOS Dude 1, etc. This is the first gen iPhone SE, which is running 15.2 for iPhone OS. 64 gig version. This particular one is the iPad Pro, and it is the 10.5 inch, and I believe it is the 512 gig model, if I remember specifically correctly. And then we have the MacBook Air, which, again, i5, 2000, early 2014, late 2014. I can't remember the exact model, but it's an i5, 8 gigs RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Nothing spectacular. It's a 13.3 inch model. It's still got them bezels. That's all I can say there. So, what's the overall experience been like? Indifferent. I've always been kind of indifferent when it comes to Apple stuff. I can see who it's meant for and who it's not. Is it's meant for me? Depends on the device. So, iPhone. Can I use an iPhone SE in 2021 and not want to bash my head out against the wall or throw this against the damn wall? So we'll talk iOS and iPhone. The answer is it's fine. It has all the apps that I need. It works. For me, really, at the end of the day, can it do the communication stuff that I need it to? If the answer is yes, the platform generically doesn't matter to me. Do I enjoy any aspects of iOS? Yeah, there's some like the kind of the quick features, like the quick settings are interesting. The the automatic organization of apps in the app library I do like. Or if you do create folders, it automatically, like, as an example, I have one that has a couple of different apps, like when banking apps and stuff, and it automatically creates a folder called finance, which is great. Or you group social media apps together and it will call it social. It's just stuff like that. Really cool. Love that. Uh, Dark mode, must always, never not have dark mode. Two things that really, just one thing that really irks me though is if you enable your quick settings like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or any of that stuff, and you use the bottom here to shut them off temporarily for the day. Mad annoying. If I use the quick toggle, I want you to shut the fuck off totally, not just stay on. So that's probably my biggest gripe. Yeah, like I know, yeah, you can go into settings and you tap your Wi-Fi and toggle it off, and then you can go into Bluetooth and toggle it off. It's just way too many clicks. Quick settings are supposed to be quick settings, quick actions, whatever you want to call them. The control center, insert your equivocal here. To give you an indication whether or not I can use an iPhone, I'm an Android guy, always have been. Can I use this or this? I said for a month I was going to use Apple stuff. It's been like 6 weeks, and I still haven't switched out the SIM card. I should tell you. It will be getting switched. It's just, it hasn't been yet. So it's fine. It works. It does what I need it to, and I move on. I can talk about the screen size and all the other stuff, but like the actual software experience, it's fine. iPad, iPad OS. This is where things get a little weird because I view these, these are computers. Cell phones, they all computational devices, so therefore they're all computers. But for me, this is where things start going a little awry, shall we say. So the first thing I was greeted with was an update for the iPad Pro 10.5. It was the 2017 version, which is still officially supported, mind you. And it's the update for iPad OS 15, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember the exact, I think it was upgrading from 11 to 15 or whatever. But this is what I was greeted with. For a company who talks about software being optimized for experience and all the other stuff. Love that overlapping text right there, Apple. That spacing is fantastic. This is something Linux distributions get crucified for. This is a $1 trillion company who can't even figure out its own product line from a software level. That's the first experience. Not really impressing me all that much. Yeah, just like I said, just not really impressed me that much. And then we have probably the biggest issue that I have with this particular device. Now, I don't expect much from tablets. These, again, are content consumption devices. I'm going to put on an audiobook, put on some music, put on, insert video here kind of deal. That's how I view tablets. That's not everyone's MO. Again, that's mine. For me, really what it boils down to is this image over here and two particular apps. And this is kind of on the app devs, but it feels like that's the experience. And the fact that Android constantly gets crucified for it on its tablet experience, when realistically people are viewing iPads with blinders and not really accepting that it has its own problems. There's two apps that I use a lot. One is Robinhood and one is Voyager. Both of them on the iPad are blown up phone apps. Legit blown up phone apps. Because you literally have to tell it to use the full screen. And even when it uses the full screen, it still has borders to no end. So again, that's on the app devs, but to look at it and say, well, the experience is that this is not, this is better than Android. Bro, you have your own problems. And those are fairly popular apps. I'm not saying they're the most popular and that kind of stuff, but all the other stuff, like, yeah, it's fine. It works. It does what it needs to. Like, I can watch movies. I can read ebooks. I can listen to music. All that stuff's fine. It works. It's kind of like the iPhone. It's fine if that's what you do. For other people, you might be able to do content creation. The cameras are actually pretty good on this. I'm not going to lie. For a tablet, like, I have pretty low expectations on tablet cameras. But overall, like I said, it's fine. It does what it needs to do for the most part. But those two things really kind of irk me. Like I said, this thing over here, not a great first impression. Then two of the apps that I use the most, just blown up phone apps. Apple, you're starting to make this experience not look so horrible. Just saying. And then we get to probably the most confused product that Apple sells. They market these. Now, this is, yes, an older model, but they market them as creator machines. They're meant for content creators, etc., artistic people and all that stuff. And yes, you can do lots of artistic stuff. There's lots of creative apps and all the other stuff. There, however, is a severe problem with how these machines are honestly being sold. Content creators are probably going to want to record their desktop fucking audio. Fire up OBS. Well, guess what? Can't do that. Fork out money, please. Yeah, even Windows doesn't do that. Linux sure as hell doesn't. You can record your desktop audio without some contrived way or having to spend a bunch of money to do a basic function. That's stupid. Again, personal opinion, but that's stupid. As a content creator's machine, that like it works fine. Like macOS is fine. The overall experience from top to bottom is it's fine. But we're looking at it from my perspective, it's lacking. That lack of desktop audio recording, that jank that other platforms get nailed for, but Apple doesn't, irks my fucking soul. Something that really encouraged me to actually do this though was gaming. I'm a big gamer. It's in my goddamn title. Like Mark One LTG, the whole thing is built around, like this whole channel is built around Linux and gaming and technology and all the other stuff. So what's the actual gaming experience like on macOS? The next time somebody bitches about Linux gaming being too contrived or limited in selection, fire up Steam on macOS, because I can tell you, as someone who owns about 1,000 games on Steam, you're not going to like the result. Because generically, what you're seeing on this side of the screen is the result of macOS compatible games that supposedly run. So these are all categories I use personally. So completed 174, 11 are compatible. End of year, these are ones that I try to play this year. 225, 2 were compatible. GameSphere, 1 is compatible. Multiplayer, 10 out of 36. No end game. For those that want to know, those are games like Civ and all those kind of games that really don't have an end game per se. 10 out of 45. Games I'm not really interested in, Humble Bundles and all the other shit. I might end up playing them at some point, but generically, they're not going to be the ones I go to first. 29 out of 227. Uncategorized. These are all just kind of ones I haven't put in categories yet. 46 out of 307. And none of these categories have duplicates in them. I don't do my organization that way. So all of these total, it's about 110 games total out of almost 1,000. You have somewhere between an 11% and 15% chance of your Mac OS game, and at least in my case, your Mac OS actually running a game. But one better, because I'm not going to try to run, a high graphically demanding game on an integrated Intel GPU. I'm not absurdly stupid in my recommendations on trying to do so. Well, this doesn't play Deus Ex and kind of divided. Why not? It's an Intel system. So I was like, okay, we'll try an older game that I can go back to and constantly replay anytime I want, because I love it. Great fun game. And that game is Dex. It's a 2.5D 2.5D Metroidvania cyberpunk open world, like platformer action RPG, cyberpunk. Really cool game. Love it. Love the aesthetic. Just love it all around. I get this when I try to install it, because macOS does not do 32-bit libraries anymore. You have 64-bit only. And so I installed it anyway, and I tried running it. Guess what? Down in the dock, you just get the little icon going up and down, and nothing. And this is a game that has a macOS version. Again, some of this is on the devs for not updating to 64-bit only, but this is also the reality of the macOS gaming experience. So if you play older games, macOS probably ain't for you. If you don't buy games specifically for Apple Arcade or any of that stuff, macOS probably ain't for you. So big tech channels, next time you talk about gaming on Linux being horrible or not a great experience, and you don't honestly talk about macOS, you're doing your audience a disservice, you lying sacks of shit who ignore things willingly. Ironically, compare apples and apples and oranges. They're different, but they're the same. The version that I hate the most, though, is this particular platform gets a pass on this category all the fucking time. Well, it's not meant for gaming. It's a general OS. It's meant for whatever the user tries to put to it, and that's what it's sold as by some. To me, it's a content creator OS. But this is the experience that you're gonna get as a gamer. That's pathetic. So you can bitch and complain about the Linux gaming experience. I'd rather take 50% over 10 any day of the week. So be real about it, at least. So at the end of the day, can I use macOS? Yeah, I can use macOS. The using the command line is annoying. Even though they sell it as you don't have to. Looking at you on signed binaries and open source apps. I am looking at the audio issues for recording on desktop, which you can't do without spending money, which is stupid. The lack of good third-party music players that are in the actual app store is horrid. You can still find good open source third-party music players that aren't Apple Music, because when I import 4,200 and something songs and I get a swirling beach ball of death every time I switch a song on a supposedly at least halfway decent fast SSD system, there's something wrong there. At the end of the day, no. macOS is not something that I can personally use. Can't use it as a content creator. I can't use it as a gamer. I can do basic stuff on it, pay things like documents and all that stuff, pages and etc. I love Apple's Pages app. I love using things like Focus Matrix, stuff like that, where I can see the Apple magic. But that one feature or function isn't enough of a feature or function for me to buy into the bullshit that is the Apple magic. And I'm using all officially supported devices. So somebody who will say, oh, well, you don't have the newest stuff, so it doesn't matter. Not every motherfucker is going to go and drop $3,000 to get into the ecosystem. I spent a fifth of that on the ecosystem. So as an example, $89, 250-ish, 259, I think. And the iPad was actually the most expensive thing because I went with newer, I went with better than what I was looking at originally. And this is 270 something. But that's mostly because of the storage option. So I'm in it for about $600-ish, give or take. And for what's there, it's fine. It's functional. I can make it work. I can use it. I can do what I need to. Is it going to be my preferred platform? The answer is fuck no. For other people, if all you're looking for is a fine computing experience and you have a limited, narrow focus on what you need, Apple, I totally get why people would get it. But for me personally, and it's not because I'm a Linux user, it's just it doesn't work for me. It's just not a viable constant OS I can use. I'm not saying I'm getting rid of it, etc. Like I said, I've spent an extra 2 weeks with freaking the iPhone. It's just one of those things where it's not going to be anywhere near my preferred experience. But it's stuff I need to have around so I can use it and not talk ignorantly about it. And unfortunately, we get a lot of people who talk ignorantly about stuff without actually ever using it, or it's been so long since they used it that it's out of date information. Again, this is just the Linux users' take. Let me know the things of Apple that you love so much about it. Maybe one day I'll actually understand the fucking Apple experience. But for me, the Apple experience is just not using it generically.